She could still hear the setia low, persistent hum 3 floors below her new apartment. It was the sound of a million arguments, a million triumphs, a million transactions. Lila had left it all behind. Or rather, she had risen above it to this small, bright space with a balcony overlooking not skyline, but the backs of other buildings, a tangled quilt of satellite dishes and washing lines. She had traded a vice president title for silence, a 6-figure salary for this a single room where the morning sun painted a slow, deliberate rectangle on the raw floorboards. Everyone called it a breakdown, a step back, a pause. The words were soft, medical, infantilizing. They got the direction wrong. She hadn't stepped back. She had stepped into the quiet, into the terrible, beautiful vacancy she had spent 40 years running from. Her transformation had no milestones, no before and after photos. It was not a caterpillar to butterfly spectacle. It was the slow settling of dust in a sunbeam, the almost imperceptible greening of a bulb on the windowsill. It began with the breath, not the yogic, purposeful kind, but the forgotten one, the one that happened in the spaces between thoughts. She noticed it one Tuesday, waiting for the kettle to boil, a full, complete inhale that had nothing to do with her. It simply arrived, and for the first time in decades, she didn't seize it, didn't try to use it to fuel the next task. She'll just let it be, then let it go. That was the first quiet revolution. Next, the memory, not the curated highlights of her CV, but a scent, the smell of wet bitumen on the street after a summer storm, 1978. It rose unbidden, a complete sensory world, the squeak of her sneakers, the chill of the gutter water on her ankles, the vast, empty possibility of a childhood evening. It didn't lead anywhere. It didn't have a point. It was just a piece of her returning, a lost sovereign state quietly rejoining the federation of self. She started to walk, not for fitness, but for friction, the friction of her soles against pavement. She learned the rhythm of her own neighborhood, the baker who put out stale loaves for the birds at 4 p.m., the old man who polished his vintage car every Sunday with monastic devotion, the specific bark of the terrier in number 42. She became a gentle historian of the insignificant. Her ambition, once a laser, was now a lamp, casting a softer, whiter light, illuminating the corners. One afternoon, she found herself standing before the canvas she'd stretched months ago, white and terrifying in its potential. She picked up a charcoal stick, not to create, but to make a mark. Any mark. A single, hesitant line. It was ugly, imperfect. She let it be. She added another, and another, and another. A chaotic, unskilled network of lines. She stepped back. It was a map of nowhere, a map of her neural pathways, perhaps, or the cracks in a dried riverbed. It was hers. It asked for nothing. It promised nothing. It simply was. This was the second quiet revolution, the death of the critic, the internal voice that judged every breath, every choice, every line on a canvas, grew tired. It wasn't a battle. It was an atrophy. Without the constant fuel of her anxiety, it simply faded. Its absence was the loudest sound she'd ever heard. People still called. They used words like come back and next chapter. They spoke of phases. She listened, smiling softly. They were speaking a language of external events, of noise. She was living a syntax of inner weather. The true transformation revealed itself not in what she did, but in what she no longer needed to do. She no longer needed to win. She no longer needed to be seen. She no longer needed the story to have a climax. The climax was the quiet. One evening, during a rain shower, she sat on her balcony. The city's hum was softened, wrapped in the percussion of falling water. She watched a single drop trace a hesitant, winding path down the glass of her balcony door. It absorbed other drops, changed course, got caught, then broke free. It didn't know its destination. It only knew its journey, moment by moment, down the transparent plain. Lila breathed with it. In, out. The drop reached the bottom sill and merged with a small pool, losing its individual shape, becoming part of something wider. There was no fanfare, no certificate, no new title, just a woman on a balcony, the rain, and a profound, unshakable sense of arrival. Not at a finish line, but at a beginning so deep and still, it felt like the very center of the world. The transformation was complete. It had been, she realized, all along. The only task had been to grow quiet enough to hear it.